Okay. I highly recommend that you listen to the rest of that on your own. It's called Green to Blue by Daniel.mp3. I love it so much. And I found it a while ago when I was looking for a song to add to this post that I was going to make to share with my friends. And I just immediately fell in love with it because it was like this warm wave of nostalgia almost, and like a sense of longing for this past memory that, like, while kind of sad, still had a lot of happiness attached to it. And it just crashed into me because it matched exactly how I felt and how I wanted my friends to feel looking at this picture. So, the way we interpret music or our perspective on songs is very dependent on how we feel in the moment, making different kinds of songs very, like, if we listen to them at one moment, you'll feel one way, but if you're sad another time, you'll see it a lot differently. So, all right, how many of you listen to music? Be honest. Do you think it affects how you feel? There. From what I've noticed, music is an incredibly powerful art form because even the smallest note can communicate so much. So, like, when you're watching movies, the movie scores can greatly change how you feel in the moments. And depending on who you're talking to, some might say that the music that you listen to all the time can somehow manifest themselves into your life on some spiritual level. So, think about the music you listen to on the daily. How do you think it affects you mentally or emotionally? Music affects us greatly. So much so that it could even almost be like a form of therapy. To start off, an obvious reason why. Music can help us cope and process our emotions. So, it might be like that because, like, you're listening to something and the lyrics or the tone of it might, like, really resonate with you, and, like, you just feel understood by the artist and, like, your emotions are being validated. I have this one song that I always listen to on repeat when I'm really angry because I take all my balled up anger and instead of keeping it inside, I release it as I jump and yell and cry to the song. And I know some of you be thinking, that's weird. Why would you do that? But that's what I've learned helps me process my emotions and it helps me make myself feel better. Furthermore, music actually has its own special division of therapy that's used for many different things. Professionals will work with their patients to either process their emotions, of course, or even help them through different physical problems. They'll do that by either listening to music or making it. And I can confirm that making music is actually, like, really helpful for me, and it's helped me so much since I was younger. And I've noticed that even just the process of creating art in general, or just creating things, can really help when you're trying to heal. However, kind of almost like a double-edged sword, if you've ever heard of that, music can have a little downside because if you're using it to cope and process your emotions, eventually you have to move away from those bad emotions if you're listening to sad songs and work on getting better. I have a friend who loves listening to Shakira and Latin music because sometimes she'll just start listening to sad songs when she's sad and she doesn't want to be sad. She wants to start feeling happier. So she'll listen to these songs and she says that the rhythm, like, really lifts her mood and it makes her feel better. Because I once had this playlist that I listened to a lot when I was going through some things, and I really didn't understand why I couldn't make myself feel better after listening to the saddest amount of songs someone could possibly compile on the daily. Every now and then, Womanizer by Britney Spears would start playing. I don't know why, but it really lifted my mood and made me laugh and feel better for that moment instead of being stuck in all those sad emotions the whole time. Just some sort of songs that either calmer, happier, or just whatever emotion you actually want to get to can really help you not be stuck in this spiral of bad emotions. Because if you're using music as a form of therapy for yourself, then you eventually have to make yourself feel better, not just stay where you are and slowly fall further down. All right. So, in the end, I could go on for hours about how incredibly powerful music is, but I'll leave it at this. If you're using music as a way to process and cope your emotions, it's very helpful for that, but you do have to work on getting better. So, think about the songs that you always listen to again. How do you think they affect you? Really? And not only that, what about the media you consume? Like shows and different social media stuff, or even the people you hang out with. How do you think they affect you? Maybe play your favorite playlist while you take the time to think. Thank you.